shout out Atak, obviously, for, you know, he basically being a big brother to me. Like he's just a couple years my senior, but like very early on, you know, when I was like, I would run away from home and like stay in his apartment in the beginning, you know what I mean? And like, he taught me like kind of everything about bombing, taught me a lot about life, you know. And shout out to Lions too, another big brother of mine who, kind of blessed me with style. You know what I mean? Like I heard you guys address kind of the each one teach one type of mentality of graffiti, and how that goes down. I came up, thankfully, like within BF crew. Like I actually haven't heard Lions' interview because I don't know if you guys dropped it yet, but I know, like, because I know him, I know he's going to talk about the traditional elements of graffiti, you know, and his opinions are really solid about it. So coming out of like kind of being raised in a way, both like in terms of like my life and just my approach to graffiti by those two guys, you know, I feel like I was set up to excel very early on. Style is a whole nother thing about graffiti that we could talk about for days. You know what I mean? But basically, like, I was a toy. I'm still a toy, but you know, like I was really, really toy for a while. And then like, you know, I was talking to Lions on AOL chat, and he sent me an image of a sketch and was just like, you know, draw this until you can paint it. And I did. And it was like the turning point. It was like from there, like I understood how, you know, you need to bite. Like if there's any young graffiti writers, aspiring graffiti writers, stop trying to think that you could invent the wheel. First, try to see if you can actually draw some shit. Like to this day, like, you know, I've been drawing graffiti for over half of my life or whatever. But to this day, I'll sit down sometimes and I'll look at like an old school, like blade or an old school, like, you know, mare or scene, or it's actually scene shit always makes sense. But some of the weird shit, quick, like for example, draw a quick piece and see if you can make sense of it, you know, because then you're going to understand like another element. It's like all types of training, you know, and you start appreciating different styles and stuff. So shout out to Lions for kind of opening that up to me, and Attack for teaching me basically how to get away with graffiti, because I did not get caught doing graffiti. You know what I mean? Like it was all like a case was built on circumstantial evidence. I've been arrested 2 times in my life, like for graffiti on the spot. And that was once when I was 16 and, you know, one time when I was like 18, but I did not get charged for writing the word that they say I'm known for, you know? So like I got away with way more than, you know, I ended up getting caught for. And that's all, you know, the impact that Attack had on just teaching me how to paint. So definitely shout out to both of them. And then I have to, you know, make mention of Daniel Montano, MF1. I really hope that, you know, listeners go and research this guy, because he was a very beautiful person, but also just a very talented artist that like, and because he went through his situation in a small city like Pittsburgh, the reason that I have like attention on me, like you guys were saying, a bunch of people, you know, shared the story or whatever and like responded. The only reason that I'm getting that attention is because I went and I painted in New York City, and that's like the mecca of graffiti, and everybody's paying attention. But it's not like that in small towns. So like Daniel Montano slayed Pittsburgh several times. He painted way more graffiti than me, and he's a way better graffiti writer, but he wasn't up in New York. You know what I mean? So like people don't really know about this guy, prolific writer, prolific artist. And, you know, unfortunately he passed away, but he did 7 years total in prison for graffiti, longest sentence in United States history. And his story needs to be told. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and unfortunately I don't have the time right now, but that's part of my goal. Part of my goal is to try and gain a platform so that I could talk also about Daniel Montano and what I learned from him. So just, I hope people look, you know, to him. And then obviously, you know, rest in peace to Acne. He was one of the first dudes who I linked up with when I moved out to New York. He was opened his doors. Like, I mean, I don't even need to speak on his behalf because he influenced and impacted so many people in New York. He's just part of New York history. People know, you know, Josh was a good dude, and that he always looked out for everybody and stuff. So rest in peace, Acne.